It's a very troubling situation for Ghana. We have not had such incidents in a very, very long time. A beacon of peace, a beacon of democracy, having people displaced in this country and become refugees in a neighboring country is extremely alarming. I didn't think that it would get to this extent. 13,000 people. It could be more, actually. And I do have a few measures that I would want the government of President John Dramani Mahama to take. That almost immediately there is a need for him to declare state of emergency in the Savannah region. That the government must look at some targeted areas to ensure that they're able to mobilize resources and oversee the abuse of power. I think that a state of emergency will be key. The second is
state of emergency.
A state of emergency in that particular region will be key. You must understand that we have these neighboring countries where our threats of terrorism, our threats of destabilization of a constitutionally mandated government. We are surrounded by all of these countries, and it doesn't augur well for international business investors. He's been traveling to Singapore, Japan, trying to bring in investors into the country, and you don't want the international news picking up displaced people in Ghana. I mean, it could be in the north, but everybody looks at Ghana and feels it's the capital, and so it's important that we nip this in the bud so it doesn't come down south. It would also be...
When you say state of emergency, what shape and form should this state of emergency take?
A total one. A total one in the entire Savannah region, because that would give a clear demarcation of trying to curb the people that are causing these mishaps. You are aware that it's the Gonja guys that are doing all of these issues. They have rifles, they have ammunitions. They need to calm it down and clap it down so that we can be able to bring in our displaced Ghanaians back into the country. You don't want displaced Ghanaians in other countries where we are spending taxpayers' money to be able to take care of them. People are beginning to now, people's surgence of leaving Ghana is extremely very high, and the risk of that is very high. The next time you realize people are on the Black Sea trying to cross over to Europe to see greener pastures, all because of the threats that they ensue to have in Ghana. And I mean, you don't want that. This is not a situation that was handed over to this government. This situation has met this government on the way. So we would expect that they uphold the highest level of leadership in dealing with this issue. My next concern would be for them to strengthen security in that particular area, because it's extremely key. We don't want our neighboring countries to think that we are poor with our security, that our borders are poor. And in these instances, you can always have people coming in and causing mayhem and causing trouble. We've been able to protect the country against threats of terrorism. We've not had any incidents whatsoever. We pray that we don't have any of that. We would want them to also engage in strong dialogue and mediation amongst both stakeholders that are involved in these clashes, and also try to provide a lot more humanitarian aid and refugee support. You wouldn't have wished that Ghana would be having refugees, but now we do, which has met us in the way of their leadership. Right? So it will be good for them to try and attend to this. And I would call on ECOWAS. We now have a new ECOWAS chair. The president of Sierra Leone, President Bo, would ask him to also try and come together and see how he can support Ghana, be able to mediate these issues. But I mean, within the shortest possible time, I would ask the government to pay a closer attention to this, because all of us stand at risk. The entire 15 regions stand at risk to the threat that is happening in the Savannah region.